Three secret signs she misses you but won't admit it. Psychology tricks. You're reading her silence like it's a verdict. Like quiet means I don't care. But in real life, silence is often a strategy, not a feeling. Sometimes it's restraint. Sometimes it's pride. Sometimes it's her emotions pulling one way while her ego pulls the other. And it's messing with you. You're replaying the last conversation, measuring the gaps between messages, checking her social media like it's a heartbeat monitor, hoping to catch one tiny sign that she still feels something. Here's the trap. You keep thinking if she missed me, she'd say it. That sounds logical, but human beings aren't logical when feelings are involved. Not when pride is on the line. Not when attachment is messy. Not when admitting it would make them feel vulnerable, exposed, or less in control. As Antoine de Saint-Exupéry said, love does not consist in gazing at each other, but in looking outward together in the same direction. And when someone misses you but won't admit it, they stop looking outward. They start battling themselves inside. So listen carefully. This is the core truth. When a woman misses you but won't admit it, her behavior becomes a contradiction. She reaches without reaching, signals without speaking, tests without committing. If you don't understand that psychology, you'll fall into one of two losing moves. You'll chase like a desperate man, or you'll react like a wounded man. Both destroy your position. Both cost you respect, especially your own. So we're not doing that. We're doing it the right way. We're going to break this down with a clean mental ladder. The misconception, the hard truth, the real root, the cost of reacting wrong, and the reframe that puts you back in control. Because this isn't about getting her back. This is about getting you back. Your frame, your self-respect, your calm power, and yes, your leverage, without becoming bitter, manipulative, or petty. The misconception. The biggest lie men over 35 still carry is this simple misconception. If she misses me, she'll just say it. That sounds logical. It sounds mature. It sounds like how adults should behave. But that is the Disney version of adult relationships, and real life does not run on movie scripts. In real life, emotions are layered, pride is real, and female psychology is far more subtle than most men are taught to understand. If you sit back waiting for a clear confession, you may wait forever. Don't confuse silence with indifference. Don't assume that a lack of direct words means a lack of feeling. That is where many men lose their power and abandon their boundaries, hoping for a clean, dramatic admission that never arrives. In the world of psychology tricks and emotional nuance, missing someone does not always translate into "I miss you." It often shows up sideways. It shows up in curiosity. It shows up in small, almost accidental behaviors. She might randomly check your social media after weeks of distance. She might send a neutral message that feels unnecessary, a simple question that could have been solved without you. That is not coincidence. That is emotion looking for a safe doorway. The observant. She might bring up a shared memory out of nowhere, laughing about something small you both experienced. That is nostalgia testing the water. She may ask mutual friends about you while pretending it's casual. That is pride protecting vulnerability. Female psychology teaches us that many women would rather hint than risk rejection. They would rather circle the subject than step directly into it. That is not manipulation. That is self-protection. And if you understand these psychology tricks, you stop reacting emotionally and start responding strategically. Another sign she misses you but won't admit it is inconsistency. One week she is distant. The next week she engages again. That push and pull is not random moodiness. It is internal conflict. She wants to reach out, then questions herself. She feels the absence, then reminds herself why she left. Don't chase the highs. Don't punish the lows. Be steady. Stability is attractive. Stability makes her feel safe enough to lower her guard. You must understand this. When a woman truly feels nothing, she becomes consistently indifferent. No checking. No subtle messages. No emotional shifts. Silence becomes permanent. But when she still cares, her behavior fluctuates because her emotions are unresolved. That is the difference mature men recognize. Another overlooked sign is when she reacts strongly to your growth. If she comments on your progress, your appearance, your success, or even your calmness, that reaction is not neutral. Emotion is still invested. A woman who has emotionally moved on does not study your evolution. She does not analyze your changes. She simply continues forward. When she notices, when she responds, when she subtly compares the present you to the past version she knew, that is attachment speaking quietly. And here is where most men make a critical mistake. They rush in the moment they sense she misses them. Don't. Be composed. Be grounded. Missing you is not the same as being ready for you. That is a hard truth. Understanding how to fall in love in a healthy way means recognizing that attraction grows in space, not pressure. If she reaches out, respond calmly. If she tests the waters, stay centered. Don't over-celebrate small signals. Don't interrogate her feelings. Let her lean in at her own pace. That is strength. That is emotional intelligence. The final layer most men miss is projection. Sometimes she will criticize you lightly, tease you, or bring up the past in a slightly sharp tone. That edge often hides longing. It is easier to express irritation than vulnerability. Easier to joke than to confess. If you understand female psychology and the deeper psychology tricks behind behavior, you see what is underneath instead of reacting to the surface. You stop personalizing everything. You start reading patterns instead of words. And that is how to fall in love without losing yourself. Real connection is not built on dramatic declarations. It is built on awareness, patience, and self-control. So don't sit there waiting for a speech. Don't abandon your boundaries for breadcrumbs. Be the man who observes calmly, acts deliberately, and never chases validation. When you understand these psychology tricks, when you truly grasp female psychology, you realize something powerful. If she misses you, it will show in her behavior long before it ever leaves her lips. Hard truth. Hard truth. She can miss you and still refuse to give you dissatisfaction. Let that settle. She can miss you and still believe that contacting you first means she loses leverage. She can miss you and still question whether you are right for her long term. She can miss you and still watch quietly to see if you have truly changed. She can miss you and still crave the emotional security you once provided, while also enjoying the freedom of not being accountable to anyone. That is not hypocrisy. That is emotional conflict. And if you don't understand emotional conflict, you will misread the entire situation. You will think her silence means she is done, or you will think her small signals guarantee she is coming back. You will swing between hopelessness and hope like a man with no center. Don't be that man. Be grounded. Be steady. That is masculine energy at its finest. Emotional conflict is when two desires live in the same heart at the same time. She misses the comfort, but fears the vulnerability. She misses your presence, but remembers the friction. She wants reassurance, but doesn't want to appear dependent. That internal tug-of-war creates mixed signals. One day, she views your stories. The next day, she disappears. One week, she sends a casual message. The next week, she goes cold. Don't panic. Don't overreact. That inconsistency is often a reflection of her inner debate, not a final verdict on you. A high-value man understands that people are complex. He doesn't chase every emotional wave. He stands firm like the shore while the tide moves in and out. Here is where many men lose their edge. They interpret silence as rejection. They interpret breadcrumbs as commitment. Both assumptions are dangerous. Silence can mean she is protecting her pride. Small signals can mean she is testing the waters, not diving back in. That is the difference. You must read patterns, not moments. A single text means nothing. Consistent curiosity means something. A random like means little. Repeated engagement means something. Be observant. Don't be reactive. That calm awareness is masculine energy in action, and it will always attract women more than emotional volatility ever will. Understand this clearly. When a woman believes contacting you first gives you the satisfaction, pride steps in. She may think, if he really cared, he would reach out. At the same time, she may replay memories at night. She may compare new experiences to what she had with you. That contradiction is real. It is not a strategy designed to confuse you. It is self-protection mixed with longing. A high-value man does not take that personally. He recognizes it for what it is. He does not beg for reassurance. He does not send paragraphs demanding clarity. He improves himself quietly. He becomes more centered. That silent growth speaks louder than emotional pressure ever could. She can also miss you and still question your long-term compatibility. Missing someone is emotional. Choosing someone is practical. Those are two different decisions. She may feel the absence of your voice, your humor, your stability. Yet she may still wonder, would this really work? That doubt slows her down. It makes her hesitate. Don't interpret hesitation as a lack of feeling. Interpret it as a desire for certainty. And certainty does not come from words. It comes from consistent behavior. You must become consistent. That is how you attract women in a mature way. Not with promises, with proof. Another layer of emotional conflict is curiosity about change. If she senses you are evolving physically, emotionally, professionally, her interest can resurface even if she never admits it. Growth triggers attention. When she sees you carrying yourself differently, speaking calmly, setting boundaries, not reacting impulsively, she notices. Women are highly attuned to shifts in masculine energy. If you become more disciplined, more self-contained, more purpose-driven, that energy is felt. And it unsettles her in a quiet way. She begins to wonder if the version of you she walked away from is no longer the version that exists. That curiosity can reopen emotional doors. But don't perform change for her. Be change for yourself. That authenticity is what truly attracts women. Now, let's address the comfort addiction. She may miss the way you made her feel safe. She may miss the emotional stability you offered. She may miss the reliability. But at the same time, she may enjoy not having to explain herself, not having to compromise, not having to be accountable. Freedom feels light. Security feels grounding. Many people want both at once. That inner split creates distance. She pulls away to breathe, then leans back in when she feels the loss. Don't chase her during her freedom phase. Don't resent her during her security phase. Be centered in your own life. A high-value man does not compete with her confusion. He lets her confusion resolve itself. If you don't understand this dynamic, you become unstable. One small sign of interest and you feel victorious. One quiet week and you feel defeated. That emotional swing reveals a lack of inner grounding. Don't hand over your emotional state to her behavior. That is the fastest way to lose respect, both hers and your own. Be internally anchored. That is masculine energy. Calm, controlled, purpose-driven. When you operate from that place, you naturally attract women because you are not seeking validation. You are offering stability. So, what should you actually do? First, don't assume. Observe. Second, don't chase. Improve. Third, don't confront her with accusations about mixed signals. Let time expose consistency. If she truly misses you in a meaningful way, her actions will gradually align. She will find reasons to communicate. She will soften. She will invest. But if the signals remain shallow and sporadic, accept that reality without bitterness. A high-value man chooses clarity over fantasy. He does not build a future on fragments. Emotional conflict is not a game to win. It is a pattern to understand. When you understand it, you stop reacting emotionally and start responding strategically. You maintain your boundaries. You protect your peace. You elevate your life regardless of her choices. That is how you attract women long-term. Not by chasing their uncertainty, but by embodying certainty within yourself. Remember this. She can miss you and still hesitate. She can feel something and still stay silent. But you must never lose yourself trying to decode every signal. Be steady. Be disciplined. Be the man whose life continues to expand whether she steps back in or not. That is power. That is presence. That is masculine energy refined. If this hit you, it's time to stop reacting and start leading. Don't let emotional conflict pull you back and forth. Don't mistake silence for the end or small signals for a guarantee. Get centered. Get disciplined. Become the man who doesn't chase confusion. He observes it calmly and stays grounded in his value. If you're ready to move with clarity instead of emotion, drop this in the comments right now. I stay centered. I don't chase mixed signals. Like this video, subscribe for more real, practical wisdom, and remember, her silence is not your weakness. Your stability is your power. Root cause. At the root of it all, understand this clearly. Vulnerability feels like risk to her, and risk feels like loss of control. When a woman misses you but refuses to say it, it is rarely because the feelings are gone. It is because admitting them would place her heart in your hands, and that position feels exposed. If she tells you she misses you, you could ignore her. You could move on. You could hold the power of response. And for a woman who has been hurt before, or who protects her pride, or who needs emotional stability to feel safe, that exposure feels dangerous. So she chooses silence over confession. She chooses signals over statements. As Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Her silence is not fate. It is protection. Instead of declaring, she sends subtle signs. Instead of saying, "I miss you," she watches your stories. She asks mutual friends about you. She reacts to old memories. She reaches out with neutral excuses. Signs, not declarations. Signals, not surrender. And here is where most men lose their footing. Signs keep you emotionally invested while she stays protected. Signs pull you in while she keeps distance. Signs give hope without commitment. If you do not understand this dynamic, you will chase breadcrumbs. If you do understand it, you remain steady. This is where Old Stoic wisdom becomes your advantage. You do not react to every hint. You do not overanalyze every emoji. You observe. You assess. You stay centered. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." That is not poetry. That is instruction. Her pride may block her confession, but your discipline must block your impulsive reaction. In modern life, where communication is instant and attention is currency, indirect behavior has become the norm. A late night, "How have you been?" text. A casual like on a 6-month-old photo. A sudden interest in something you once shared. These are not accidents. They are emotional probes. She is testing the water without diving in. She wants connection without risk. She wants reassurance without exposure. And you must respond with strength, not hunger. An iron mind does not jump at shadows. An iron mind does not beg for clarity. An iron mind waits for consistency. Remember that. Repeat it. Wait for consistency. Because real longing eventually becomes action. Real missing becomes effort. Anything less is emotional convenience. Do not confuse curiosity with commitment. Do not confuse nostalgia with readiness. As Seneca taught, he who is brave is free. Bravery in this situation means you are not controlled by mixed signals. You are not moved by half measures. You are calm. You are observant. You are grounded in Stoicism WIN principles that teach emotional independence first, connection second. When she sends signs instead of words, understand the psychology, but do not reward the ambiguity. If she truly misses you, she will step forward clearly. If she remains hidden behind pride, let her stay there. You do not punish. You do not pressure. You simply maintain your frame. Old Stoic wisdom reminds you that self-mastery is more attractive than pursuit. The man who wins is not the man who reacts fastest. He is the man who reacts least. He is steady. He is composed. He does not chase signals. He responds to clarity. And here is your edge. When you stop overvaluing hints, you shift the dynamic. When you remain calm, you become the safe place she feared losing. When you demonstrate emotional control, you remove the fear of rejection because you are not playing games. You are grounded. That is Stoicism WIN in action. That is the iron mind in real life. So if you notice the subtle signs, acknowledge them internally, but do not surrender your balance. Let her move from hint to honesty. Let her move from signal to statement. If she does, you will meet her with strength. If she does not, you will still stand unshaken. Because mastering your emotions is the real victory. Mastering your reactions is the real power. And in the end, the man who governs himself never loses, whether she admits she misses him or not. Sign 1. She creates contact without committing to connection. Sign one is subtle, and that's exactly why most men miss it. She creates contact without committing to connection. Not the obvious stuff. Not just liking your posts or watching your stories. That's surface. I'm talking about the quiet patterns that reveal an internal tug of war, the kind rooted deep in female psychology and powered by unspoken psychology tricks. It's the accidental text that isn't accidental. The random question she could have Googled. The casual, hey, do you remember that place? The soft, neutral, I saw this and thought of you. Or the classic, polite, distant, hope you're doing well. It feels friendly, safe, harmless. But it's not intimacy. It's contact without commitment. That is a bid, a small emotional bid. She's tossing a pebble at your window to see if you still live there emotionally. She's not ready to knock on the door. She's checking if the lights are on. Because if she says, I miss you, she risks rejection. She risks pride. She risks you saying, I've moved on. But if she sends something low stakes, she gathers information without exposing her heart. That's one of the oldest psychology tricks in female psychology. Test the waters without diving in. She measures your temperature. She studies your tone. She watches your timing. If you respond in seconds with a paragraph, she learns you're still emotionally parked where she left you. If you respond with calm warmth and brevity, she learns you've grown. If you respond cold and bitter, she learns you're still hurting. Every reply you send teaches her something. And here is where most men collapse their own position. They treat the pebble like a marriage proposal. They mistake curiosity for commitment. They pour emotion into a cup she barely extended. Don't do that. Don't over-explain. Don't rewrite history in a text message. Don't try to prove you've changed in 3 paragraphs. Be steady. Be centered. Be the man who has a full life, not the man who has been waiting for a notification. Because this isn't about playing games. It's about self-respect. A grounded man doesn't get overly excited by crumbs, and he doesn't punish either. He doesn't lash out. He doesn't ignore to create drama. He doesn't chase to secure reassurance. He simply responds in proportion. That is strength. That is discipline. That is understanding how to fall in love without losing your posture. When you understand psychology tricks and female psychology, you realize something powerful. Missing someone and being ready for them are 2 different things. She can miss you deeply and still lack the emotional courage to say it clearly. She can feel the absence and still protect her ego. She can test you while telling herself she's just being friendly. So the real question isn't, does she miss you? The real question is she ready to show up with clarity? You must separate emotion from behavior. Anyone can feel nostalgia at 11 p.m. That's easy. Mature connection requires daylight honesty. If she keeps sending small pings but avoids real conversation, that tells you where she stands. She wants access without accountability. And you must decide what you tolerate. Don't train someone to value you through unlimited access. Attention is currency. Spend it wisely. When you respond calm, measured, and slightly unavailable, you communicate something without saying it. I'm open, but I'm not waiting. That shifts the dynamic. That's how to fall in love in a healthy way, not by chasing, not by convincing, not by begging for clarity, but by embodying it. The irony is this: when you stop trying to extract reassurance, you become more attractive. When you stop reacting emotionally to every breadcrumb, you regain leverage. That's not manipulation. That's emotional maturity. Many men between 35 and 70 have built careers, raised families, survived losses. Yet when it comes to romantic uncertainty, they abandon discipline. Don't. Apply the same composure here. If she truly misses you, consistency will follow curiosity. Effort will follow contact. Depth will follow the light taps. Watch patterns, not moments. One text means nothing. Repeated reach-outs mean something. And when the moment comes where she moves from indirect to direct, you'll be in a position of strength because you didn't overextend when she was unsure. This is where understanding psychology tricks and female psychology protects you. It keeps you from mistaking nostalgia for readiness. It keeps you from confusing attention with intention. And it teaches you how to fall in love without collapsing your standards. So when that casual message comes in, breathe. Smile. Respond like a man who is grounded, not grasping. Keep it light. Keep it respectful. Keep it brief. Let her invest. Let her clarify. Let her rise to the level of connection she claims to want. Because your job is not to decode every hint. Your job is to maintain your frame. If she wants back in, she can step in clearly. If she doesn't, your life continues forward without drama. That is power. That is self-command. And that is how you win, whether she returns fully or not. If this opened your eyes, don't just sit with it, act on it. Like this video. Subscribe for more real insight. And most importantly, lock this principle into your mind. A man with self-respect does not chase breadcrumbs, he holds his frame. If that resonates with you, comment below, I respond with strength, not need. Write it. Own it. Live it. Sign 2. She stays close to your orbit while pretending she's not watching. She doesn't call. She doesn't text. She doesn't openly step back into your life. But she's there, quiet, observing. She watches your stories. She shows up at places you frequent. She suddenly interacts with mutual friends. She becomes coincidentally visible, not present enough to commit, not distant enough to disappear. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. That's not random. That's strategy mixed with emotion. Understand this clearly. She misses something. Maybe she misses you. Maybe she misses the version of herself she became when she was with you. The way she felt safe. The way your presence structured her life. The way your masculine energy created steadiness in her world. But at the same time, she doesn't want to surrender her independence. She doesn't want to admit she walked away too quickly. She doesn't want to risk rejection. So she hovers. Hovering feels passive, but it isn't. Hovering is deliberate. It's a way to keep the door open without walking through it. That's called orbiting. Orbiting means I want access to your energy without offering commitment. It's the emotional equivalent of standing outside a restaurant and smelling the food because you don't want to pay for the meal. She wants proximity, not responsibility. Now here's where you must be sharp. Don't confuse presence with investment. Don't mistake visibility for vulnerability. Be clear. Be calm. Be a high-value man who understands the difference between attention and intention. When you lack awareness, you'll accept the crumbs. You'll allow her to feed on your attention. You'll let her keep you as a safe option while she keeps her freedom untouched. You'll call it a second chance. But it isn't love. It's unresolved attachment. Attachment without clarity is a trap. Read that again. Attachment without clarity is a trap. If she truly valued the connection at a deep level, would she keep you in limbo? Would she leave you guessing? Would she send mixed signals and label it timing? No. When a woman is aligned emotionally, she moves with consistency. She moves with direction. That is female psychology at its core. When feelings are real and mature, action follows. So why do so many men accept orbiting? Because they're hungry. And hungry men don't negotiate. They beg. They rationalize. They lower standards just to feel chosen again. Don't do that. A high-value man doesn't beg for clarity. He requires it. He doesn't chase someone who's circling. He focuses on his path. Here's the hidden cost of accepting orbiting. You lose your center. You start checking your phone too often. You start overanalyzing her movements. You stop training consistently. You lose focus on your work. Your sleep suffers. Your peace weakens. Your mission fades into the background. And she feels that shift immediately. Women respond to more than words. They respond to groundedness, to self-control, to the steadiness of your masculine energy. When you are centered, you attract women naturally. When you are unsettled, even if she misses you, she feels the instability. This is where psychology tricks quietly operate. Orbiting triggers hope. Hope triggers anticipation. Anticipation keeps you hooked. And when you're hooked, you give free validation. That validation feeds her ego without requiring commitment. Don't reward ambiguity. Reward clarity. That is how a high-value man moves. Be the man who is okay without her. That doesn't mean you don't care. It means you are not dependent. It means your happiness is not waiting on her decision. That is powerful. That is attractive. That is masculine energy expressed in a calm, steady way. If she truly wants back in, she will step in fully. She will communicate clearly. She will stop hovering and start investing. Until then, don't adjust your life to accommodate someone standing at the edge. Continue building. Continue training. Continue strengthening your mind and body. Continue expanding your world. When you focus on growth, you naturally attract women who respect your standards. Remember this: proximity is not commitment. Visibility is not vulnerability. Watching is not choosing. You must hold your frame. You must protect your peace. You must understand that being desired from a distance is not the same as being valued up close. And here's the truth most men overlook. When you stay centered and unaffected, two things happen. Either she steps forward with clarity, or she drifts away because she no longer gets free access to your energy. Both outcomes serve you. That is the mindset of a high-value man. Calm, focused, unmoved by half measures, grounded in his masculine energy, unafraid to walk alone. When you become that man, you don't just attract women, you attract the right dynamic. And you never settle for orbiting again. Sign 3. She tries to rewrite the story of the breakup without admitting her emotion. Sign 3 is subtle but powerful. She begins to rewrite the story of the breakup without ever admitting she misses you. She won't come out and say, "I miss you." That would require vulnerability. That would require ownership. Instead, she'll say, "I've been thinking about everything lately." Or, "I realize we both made mistakes." Or, "I hope there's no bad blood between us." She'll bring up a memory you shared, a trip, a song, a late-night conversation. Her tone softens. Her words slow down. She sounds reflective, calm, mature. On the surface, it feels like closure. But look closer. She's not closing the chapter. She's reopening the emotional file. As Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This is where most men lose their footing. They respond to the sentiment instead of the direction. They hear nostalgia and assume reconciliation. They hear softness and assume commitment. But an iron mind does not react to tone. It studies trajectory. Understand this clearly. If she says, "I miss you," she must own her emotion. If she says, "I've just been reflecting," she gets to maintain composure. That is emotional filtering. That is logic used as a shield. She launders emotion through reflection, so she can express closeness without appearing dependent. And in modern life, where pride, image, and control matter more than ever, this is common. Social media makes it easier. A late-night text, a casual comment on your story, a shared memory dropped into conversation like it means nothing. But it means something. Always. The question is not whether she feels something. The question is what she intends to do with it. Sometimes she wants reconnection. Sometimes she wants closure. Sometimes she wants validation. Sometimes she wants to check if you still see her as special. Sometimes she wants to ease her guilt without returning to the relationship. That's why you do not respond to the words. You respond to the direction. Old Stoic wisdom teaches that clarity is strength. Stoicism win is not about coldness. It is about discipline. It is about refusing to be pulled into emotional ambiguity. Ask yourself, is she moving toward accountability, clarity, and mutual respect? Or is she moving toward nostalgia, ambiguity, and open-ended emotional access? One path builds something real. The other path makes you her emotional safety net while she keeps her options open. And that role will quietly erode your self-respect. Epictetus reminded us, "No man is free who is not master of himself." If you rush to reassure her every time she reflects, if you comfort her every time she feels nostalgic, if you give her emotional intimacy without relational commitment, you are no longer mastering yourself. You are reacting, and reaction is weakness of discipline, not weakness of character. An iron mind pauses. An iron mind evaluates. An iron mind asks direct questions. If she says she has been thinking, you calmly ask, "Thinking about what exactly?" If she says she realizes you both made mistakes, you say, What specifically are you taking responsibility for? Clarity, specificity, direction. That is how you lead. In today's dating world, especially for men between 35 and 70, emotional maturity is rare and therefore powerful. You have lived enough life to know that nostalgia is not commitment. Reflection is not reconciliation. Words are not action. Do not confuse temporary emotion with long-term intention. She may sound warm. She may sound sincere. She may even believe her own words in that moment. But what follows? Does she take steps? Does she initiate real conversation about rebuilding? Does she acknowledge her role clearly? Or does she hover in a comfortable gray zone where she can feel connected without being accountable? Old Stoic wisdom reminds us that we must judge things not by how they feel, but by what they produce. Does this interaction produce clarity or confusion? Does it produce forward motion or emotional looping? A man grounded in Stoicism Win understands that access to his time, attention, and emotional energy is earned through consistency and respect. You do not punish. You do not chase. You observe. You decide. You act with calm strength. And here is the truth most men avoid. Sometimes she is not trying to manipulate you. She is trying to manage her own discomfort. She misses the familiarity. She misses the validation. She misses the certainty of knowing someone sees her deeply. But missing you is not the same as choosing you. Write that down. Missing you is not choosing you. Repeating it strengthens your iron mind. If she truly wants to rebuild, she will move toward clarity. She will speak plainly. She will ask directly. She will demonstrate through action. As Seneca wrote, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Prepare your mindset. Prepare your standards, so when opportunity appears, you are not overwhelmed by emotion. You are guided by principle. Modern relationships are filled with half steps and half truths. Do not live in half clarity. Demand wholeness, not through anger, through composure, not through control, through self-respect. When she revisits the past, listen carefully. When she softens her tone, stay steady. When she hints at reflection, ask for direction. Because a man who practices Old Stoic wisdom does not fear reconnection. He simply refuses to participate in confusion. That is Stoicism Win. That is the iron mind, calm, observant, decisive. And when you operate from that place, you stop worrying about whether she misses you. You focus on whether she is prepared to meet you at your level of clarity and respect. That shift changes everything. You win not by forcing her to return. You win by refusing to abandon your standards. And that is real power. If you recognize this pattern, don't get pulled in by soft words and sentimental memories. Stay sharp. Stay centered. When she rewrites the story without owning her feelings, that's your test. Not hers, yours. You don't respond to nostalgia. You respond to direction. Is she bringing clarity, accountability, and real intention? Or is she reaching for comfort without commitment? A strong man protects his self-respect first, always. If this message hit you, drop this in the comments right now. I choose clarity over confusion. Like the video, subscribe for more psychological insight. And remember, you are not here to be someone's emotional safety net. You are here to build something real. The reframe and practical actions. Now let's slow this down and look at it clearly, because this is where most men between 35 and 70 lose their footing without even realizing it. The truth is simple, but it stings. A woman missing you is not the reward. Your standards are the reward. Your peace is the reward. Your purpose is the reward. You can be deeply missed by the wrong woman and still watch your life unravel. Let that sit with you. Missing you is emotion. Respecting you is intention. And intention is what builds a future. So reframe it immediately. If she misses you but won't admit it, that does not automatically mean you go back. It means there is emotional residue. Residue is not reconciliation. It is unfinished energy, and unfinished energy can feel intense, but intensity is not commitment. This is where psychology tricks and female psychology confuse men. You see signs and interpret them as promises. Don't. A sign is not a contract. A late-night text is not a plan. Just checking in is not a relationship revival. Be calm, not cold. Calm. There's a difference. The man who handles this well does not perform strength. He lives it. He doesn't fire off 10 messages searching for clarity. He creates clarity by what he accepts and what he refuses. He doesn't give speeches about boundaries. He enforces them quietly. That is power without noise. He understands something crucial about female psychology and how to fall in love. Real desire moves toward certainty, not chaos. If someone truly wants to be in your life, they will make it easy to respect them. Not perfect, but clear. So when she sends that soft ping, that casual, hey, how have you been? Don't spike with excitement. Don't spiral into fantasy. Don't overinvest. Match energy. Be polite. Be brief. Be grounded. Don't chase. Don't audition. Don't confess your heart because she opened a door 2 inches. If she wants a conversation, she can speak directly. If she wants to reconnect, she can show consistency. Watch for ownership. Watch for patterns. Know the difference between a woman who misses you and a woman who misses the validation you use to provide. Those are not the same thing. Now get practical. First, stop rewarding ambiguity. If you offer boyfriend-level access for low-effort behavior, you teach her that you are available without commitment. That is not how to fall in love in a healthy way. That is how to build confusion. Second, if she reaches out, lead with standards. Ask the right question. Not, do you miss me? That question hands over your power. Ask, what do you want? Calm, direct, adult. If she cannot answer clearly, that is your clarity. Third, after any interaction, redirect your attention immediately back to your life. Do not let one message hijack your day. That's emotional relapse. You relapse into hope, into nostalgia, into the movie playing in your head. The cure is action. Train your body. Handle your finances. Clean your environment. Invest in friendships. Learn something new. Build momentum. Not to impress her, to restore yourself. Because here's the deeper layer most men avoid. Sometimes you don't actually want her. You want the feeling of being chosen again. You want the dopamine. You want relief. That is outsourced self-worth. And outsourced self-worth will make you rationalize anything. You'll label inconsistency as she's scared. You'll call distance psychology tricks. You'll excuse confusion with amateur interpretations of female psychology. Stop. Psychology explains behavior. It does not excuse you abandoning yourself. Yes, she may be fighting her own internal battle, desire versus pride, attachment versus fear. But it is not your job to win her internal war. It is your job to remain centered. The moment her decision becomes the center of your world, you lose your balance. And when you lose your balance, you lose leverage, clarity, and peace. If she truly wanted to come back in a clean way, you would not feel like a detective analyzing breadcrumbs. Clarity feels steady. Confusion feels addictive. That is one of the oldest psychology tricks in the book. Choose steady. Choose discipline. Choose the version of yourself that does not collapse when someone hesitates. Because the real win is not being missed. The real win is being a man who respects himself so deeply that only clear, consistent love is allowed to stay. All right, my friend, let me leave you with this. If she misses you but can't show up with respect, that tells you everything you need to know. Missing you is a feeling. Respecting you is a choice. And you don't build a future on emotions that change with the weather. You build it on consistent behavior. So here's my sincere advice to you. Stop obsessing over whether she misses you. Start focusing on whether she shows up correctly. Don't wait around for mixed signals. Don't beg for clarity from someone who is comfortable keeping you uncertain. Protect your peace. Hold your standard. Mean what you say and live it. When you move with calm confidence, you win either way. If she steps up with maturity and respect, good. If she disappears because she can't meet your level, even better. You didn't lose. You stayed solid. You stayed disciplined. You stayed you. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this message resonated, make sure you subscribe and stay connected. Keep choosing clarity. Keep choosing self-respect. That's how you move forward. That's how you stay strong.